This is Charlotte. I'm Caitlin. We're Sky Talkers. Welcome to the podcast stage.
So when we did this in 2019, I played our intro music and then began. So I'm going to do the same thing again. Okay. We'll see how this goes.
Welcome to Sky Talkers. Here are your hosts, Charlotte and Caitlin.
Hello! I'm your host, Charlotte.
And I'm your host, Caitlin. And welcome to Star Wars Celebration, Day 2.
How has everyone's celebration been so far? And can you hear me? Am I too close to the microphone? Are we good?
Yeah,
okay.
How's our audio?
Okay.
Good. Louder?
Louder?
Okay. Okay, how about this?
Okay.
That better? Okay.
Test.
Did anyone come from the Attack of the Clones panel?
So did we. Very happy to see Hayden and Ewan.
We almost left early, and we were like, let's give it 2 more minutes and see if they show up. And they did. But then we were kind of hightailing it here.
Yeah, we were busting it, you know.
Yeah, but that panel was something else. It was so much fun. I don't think I knew what to expect, and that exceeded all of my expectations.
Completely. Yeah, I think just one thing, just like a tiny nitpick, I felt like it was weird that they didn't mention Padme at all.
Right.
Yeah, and I don't know, she's my favorite character. I think probably most people here know that. So I was just a little like, I feel like
Attack of the
Clones is
bummed.
Padme's movie. So.
It is.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of Padme, let's talk about the first, like we said, we are going to be talking about Kenobi. So this is just your spoiler warning. But Charlotte, when was the first time you cried in Kenobi? I'm starting us off strong.
Well, the first time I cried when we watched Kenobi was like the entire experience. It was just misty the entire time. But I think when we got the dream sequence from Obi-Wan, that was basically just a Revenge of the Sith flashback. Oh my God. I broke down. I think what it was for me is I have been waiting for so long, and I'm sure most people in this room can empathize, for any sort of recognition of Padme in these main stories, or sort of like this continuation. I feel like we're talking about Padme a lot. I feel kind of bad.
We should. Yeah.
Okay. But I felt like we finally made it. This show was like, for me, a perfect bridge between the original trilogy and the prequel trilogy, and it wasn't in a fan servicey way. I didn't think at all. It was just perfectly. I don't know. I thought the tone was perfect. I thought
it made sense.
It made sense.
Yeah.
And of course, like the only thing that would bring Obi-Wan off of Tatooine would be to help Anakin and Padme's daughter to safety.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Very overwhelmed, still overwhelmed. We've only watched it one time. We tried to watch it again in the hotel room.
Our hotel Wi-Fi did not cooperate.
Wi-Fi bad.
And we were like,
Hotspot
all right,
bad.
here we go.
Yeah.
Hotspot didn't work. And I think everyone in our hotel, I think, was watching it too. So even we bought the extra premium Wi-Fi, and it still didn't work.
Wasn't premium.
Yeah, it was not premium. But okay, we did get through. So we got to watch it last night in the celebration stage, and they did not show the flashback or the recap, the prequel recap. So we did get to watch that before our internet gave out. And I thought that was so interesting, like what they decided to show, the little tidbits that they decided to put out.
Has everyone seen that recap on Disney Plus?
Yeah.
I was like, this is a masterclass in prequel, like, it was great.
I know. I was like, whoa, there's a lot to take in here. Yeah. But there was so much Phantom Menace in that recap that honestly, I wasn't expecting that much. But everything that they were talking about with Qui-Gon and Anakin and training the boy, I think it all just makes total sense for potentially what we're going to be seeing Obi-Wan do throughout the series.
Well, in that first episode, I think that we have... First off, let's start right in the beginning. Okay, so that beginning with Order 66, I think that it is now a May tradition. Every year we have to relive Order 66, whether it's on May 4th or like any other time in May, we have to relive Order 66, I guess. Special thanks to Dave Filoni.
Thank you.
So, yeah, and I didn't realize this until we were talking about this with some friends afterwards, but I think that, let's do a show of hands. What do we think was happening in the beginning of that? Do we think that that was Reva? And yeah, does everyone agree that that was Reva?
Yeah.
The second time I watched it, I thought that that was the case. And then I was like, okay, so what's the theme here? What are we showing? And then I was thinking about it, thinking that perhaps it was just children in leadership roles or like taking leadership. I don't know. And then it was like, oh no, that was Reva. And I was like, okay.
Yeah. The first time we watched the show, the episode, I was like, this feels like a really intense cold open, and I'm not sure where we're going from here, but I'm already emotional about it. I think too, just seeing the Jedi Temple, for one thing, was just, it was amazing. I don't know, it's so fun to see prequel locations in 2022 in new Star Wars. It feels so good, like it feels so familiar and like coming home. So on the one hand, that was exciting, but on the other, it was Order 66, so it was a little bit of a bummer.
Mm-hmm. What did everyone think of the show overall? Good?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Did it live up to everyone's expectations? Yeah, okay. I think it did.
I totally think it
After
did.
I think so too. Years and years of this discussion about whether or not we're going to get an Obi-Wan movie, TV show. I don't know if anyone else in this audience was in the crowd at D23 in 2019 where the microphone of Kathy Kennedy. Yeah, okay, good. Kathy Kennedy being like, "Will you play Obi-Wan Kenobi again?" And Ewan saying yes. We were there sobbing. So it feels a little full circle, you know what I mean? Pretty good. Pretty good.
I know, I mean, you guys have listened, I'm sure, to our initial recap episodes where it's just like, where do you even begin with a show like this? And I think we should start with Obi-Wan and his state of mind.
Sure.
What did you think of his state of mind?
I just think it's really sad. If anyone else was in the panel in the morning yesterday where John Williams played the theme, I think that we were really struck immediately, like, whoa, we're getting a really sad, really depressed, really anguished man. And because that was totally packed into that theme. And I feel like, I don't know, I was really struck by that. And then the very fact that he just doesn't use the Force, it was so Luke Skywalker in The Last Jedi, which was really great. I think that there was a lot of callbacks, actually. Like, there was... I turned to Caitlin and I was like, I think Deborah Chow wishes Rey was a Kenobi because there was I mean, you can debate that.
I was pre The Last Jedi. I was very much I would like Rey Kenobi to be a thing. I thought it was an interesting parallel.
This is so controversial.
I know it is. It was a hill I was willing to die on, even though I didn't think. I think it was a hill
that you were willing to step on. I don't know if you would die on that hill.
I would die on it. I still think it's a good idea. And the beginning of the show, I was like, if she was a Kenobi, this would have been a really great parallel to the opening with Rey, right?
Would have been fun.
I'm not crazy.
Okay. But regardless, I think that the parallel showed isolation and what that sad isolation is like and what risks you're willing to take. And I mean, Obi-Wan's little cave that is protected by that little North Pole droid, it reminded me of the Santa Claus. Why am I saying that now? I don't know. I didn't even air that to Caitlin.
No, I'm not. This is news to me.
Yeah. Anyway.
Back to Obi-Wan.
Yeah.
I think that this show did such a good job of like bringing us into Obi-Wan's state of mind in Kenobi. And even though I think we all kind of expected him to be sad, to see him acting almost cowardly was so jarring in a lot of ways. And I think they did a great job throughout that first episode of showing all these opportunities where Obi-Wan would have said something in the Clone Wars or even in Revenge of the Sith, and he chooses not to. He actively shrinks away and hides. And it just is so not the Obi-Wan we know, especially when they're working in, what was that, the Krayt Dragon, where they're like a butcher, Obi-Wan the butcher.
Sashimi man.
Yeah. And I guess the manager asks if Obi-Wan has anything to say because they've cut portions on the employees, and he just doesn't even respond. He just shakes his head and walks away, and it's so gut-wrenching because that's not at all who we know, and it's getting to know who this Obi-Wan is. And I think having Leia be the thing that finally gets him off planet and It takes convincing. It takes a lot of convincing, which was so surprising. Honestly, to me, it's kind of like finding out the backstory for Luke and Ben in The Last Jedi, and finding out that Obi-Wan, in a lot of ways, is kind of prioritizing Luke in this situation. It's really one of those things that, like, okay, what do I know about this character? What do I really know about this character and his flaws and his motivations and things like that? I honestly think it was kind of shocking.
Yeah, well, I think it makes you think of, for me, I keep thinking about the concept of who Obi-Wan thinks is the chosen one, and I think that it's pretty clear in Rebels, I guess, that Obi-Wan thinks that Luke is the chosen one, and that's debated. Keelan is all over the place about who she thinks the chosen one is. It's Anakin, but whatever. Anyway, but I think that is an interesting take, because even here, right, in this show that's up before that time in Rebels and Twin Sons, we see this reluctance to go help the other child, the twin, and leave Luke, even though he's not really doing much for Luke. I mean, Owen doesn't want that at all. So
wait, can we talk about the toy?
Oh, the toy. The toy.
We were both like sitting in the chair, like, no, not the toy.
That one, okay, that was like good fan service in my opinion.
It was, yeah, I thought it was too.
But how does he get it? Because Owen returned it.
I mean, they're gonna have to have a moment later on.
Yeah.
You know, it's just, it's not gonna be all bad.
True.
Yeah. I think that, I think it's been, that first episode did such a great job of introducing us to this new Obi-Wan. I kind of can't get over it, and how hard of a pill it is to swallow that he was gonna let Leia be kidnapped. And I think we'll see in the next episodes, but especially in that first, or when he actually goes after Leia, him getting to know her and kind of, I don't know, it's like shaking off the dust and seeing him do all these things that he used to do, and still having a little bit of that sense of humor in situations, and seeing Leia bring that out of him. We have to talk about.
Okay, before we get to
I know,
Leia,
we're gonna
I
say
one more thing. So it was dark to see Obi-Wan in such a dark place.
Yeah.
I think that something that took us by surprise when we watched Rogue One was that immediate, when Cassian kills the man with the glove, without the gloves, I guess, you know, with the one arm, or the arm in the sling.
Yeah, in the beginning.
And it's so jarring because Cassian is a hero, and you're like, whoa, he just murdered a guy. Whoa. And I think that when Caitlin and I looked at each other when we were watching it, like, I think that's going to happen right now with that Jedi, who wanted Obi-Wan's help. That how far would Obi-Wan go to protect his own isolation? Yeah, and keep out of it. The whole bearing the lightsaber.
It was a lot.
Yeah,
it was a moment.
I'm not ready to talk about that, if I'm going to be honest, but it's okay. Fine, we're blowing past it.
But but when Obi-Wan took the lightsaber from that guy, I held Charlotte's arm, and I was like,
it's happening.
Is he going to kill? Are we going to have a Cassian moment where he just like kills him?
Hashtag Cassian moment. But it didn't happen.
No, it didn't happen. And I think it kind of makes sense, honestly, to see Obi-Wan not make that choice, because we see him as more timid, I think. Again, like that cowardly adjective that I would give him. And for him to have killed that other Jedi, I don't really think matches with the Obi-Wan that we are kind of introduced to in this episode. I think they definitely could have gone that route, with Obi-Wan being very aggressive about who's coming on the planet, and anyone who, you know, gets on his lawn, he's like, you're out of here.
On his lawn.
On his sand lawn.
Except for the Jawa, which was the best thing ever.
It was so fun.
The rapport.
If you're going to steal my parts and sell them back, you should at least clean them. Then the brief pause of, well, that'll cost you extra. It was so funny.
So good. Okay, so let's talk about Leia. Okay. She's amazing. She's so good. I think something, I'm going to steal what Caitlin said, and it's fine. She said that...
what did I say?
What did she say? You said that it was clearly Leia. I feel like we watched a young Leia. It's not like we watched someone try to be like a young Carrie Fisher. We watched someone be a young Leia. And I don't mean that obviously in like a derogatory term at all. I mean, it was clearly
the character.
Her character.
Yeah.
And it was just so refreshing. She was perfectly what I think that we have always imagined Anakin and Padme's daughter being. And yeah, it was just so great. I don't know. And seeing Bail, the pinky promise. The dad-daughter vibe. It's so good.
Even seeing the mom-daughter moments.
Okay, all right. We haven't really talked about this. Did they recast Brea? Yeah, they did, right? Okay. She was good.
No, I liked her a lot. I liked her a lot. When she first came on screen, I was like, okay, is this who I think it is?
Yeah, I was looking for the glowy heart.
Yeah, I would
from
too.
Leia, Princess of Alderaan.
Princess of Alderaan. We actually talked about that before. I don't remember if we said it on the show, but we were talking to each other about
we'd ever see that.
Heart. Well, because they had brought mods into like the Mandalorian and everything like that, it kind of made sense that they could try it with Brea and everything. But I mean, there's still time. We could still see it.
But she was perfect. The sass was great. Her timing was perfect. Like, she looks great.
I think also,
so cute.
Yeah, kind of the like comedic moments in this show. I mean, you guys know we always talk about the angst with Obi-Wan. That's kind of the only thing we've talked about with this show. But having some of that quippiness from Obi-Wan himself, but then really it being coming from Leia predominantly, like that whole open with her and getting dressed, and it's just so beautiful. And then it's not her. And then all of her handmaidens, like I don't know what they would be called on Alderaan. Ladies in waiting, yes. And they just all look away from the queen like we didn't know this.
So good, so good. I mean, I think even her looking at the ships and naming the ships, it's so Anakin. I loved that reference. I've always thought about how Luke and Leia, and this is sort of just a headcanon from being in fandom for too long, I guess, about who are they most like and what are their traits like when they were a kid. And I think that it's easy to be like, well, Luke is like Anakin and Leia is like Padme. And I think that is true, but it's fun to see the mixture about the fact that they're a mixture of both, you know, and it was cool to see that reference, and yeah, loved it. And I loved when Obi-Wan makes the reference, the Padme reference about how, and the fact that he doesn't say senator, so he says leader.
Yeah.
So good.
It's this perfect continuation of what Bail was talking to Leia about, and Leia getting to see someone else kind of bring in that perspective for her. I don't know. I just think it was really great, both of their conversations with Leia about, I mean, Bail wasn't really talking about Padme, but you can kind of, I don't know, I sensed that in him. Yeah. But especially from Obi-Wan, I mean, that number one, that's 2 Padme references in 2 episodes, which is a lot. Yay, for Padme.
And 2 is more than 0 in the Attack the Clones panel. So I'm not.
I thought we blew past it.
Yeah, we're blowing past it.
We're totally blowing past it. We circled back, but now we're blowing past it. It was a good
panel. I just hold a grudge for like, I don't know, 15 minutes. It's fine. Okay, so wait, one more Leia thing that we should talk about.
Okay, yeah.
When she told off the cousin. Okay, I like the fact that there's this rude cousin. First off, great. And then her just being so sassy, so perfect, really delivering the goods there in that conversation.
She's so smart. Yeah. I think that's of course Leia is smart, but to see her as this young kid literally kidnapped, it's implied that she's never left the planet by her cousin, or at least hasn't gone much of anywhere, which I think is a cool parallel with Luke that I think we should also think about. But her being so smart and like, all right, I guess I need to go with this guy but then totally backtracking, being like, actually, no, never mind, like, stranger danger, I'm out of here. I mean, she's leaping across buildings, like, parkour Leia. It's parkour Leia. I was watching her like, oh my God, she is absolutely not old enough to be doing that. I would not be doing that.
Yeah.
No, I wouldn't. I would not. I would be dead.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just think it's so great to see her so smart and agile, and I don't know, just thinking 2 steps ahead, because that is the Leia that we know in the original trilogy and in the sequel trilogy. So to see her like that as a child, when she's thrown into a terrifying situation like being kidnapped, and immediately start thinking on her feet about what to do, who to talk to, who should she trust in this moment, and how she can change that and go her own way. Like, how was she going to get off that planet? I knew she would.
Super cool planet, by the way. I really do love the design. Yeah. Also, did you guys notice that, I think her name is Esther, Ewan's daughter, Esther, that is the girl that sold the spice to, or not sell, isn't that so cool?
Yeah.
When we were watching it, I was like, okay, I recognize her. And I was like, oh my gosh, I follow her on Instagram. And Yeah. And then I realized, because people were talking about it. I can't claim that one.
Yeah, I think it was a good moment. It's so fun to see new environments in Star Wars. It always is. We love all of the television. You guys know we're happy, like, we've gone through a reckoning with Tatooine, I think, in the past, 2 years. And
honestly, it past 6 months.
Yeah. 6 months, 2 years.
2 years.
Time is a flat circle.
Yeah.
But to be able to go somewhere that is so different and new and, again, kind of has that prequel feeling, you know what I mean? I just think it's really cool. And I think you said this when we started, Charlotte, but it's just, this show feels, it's only 2 episodes, but it feels like this really beautiful blending of these Star Wars time periods, these timelines of Star Wars, because, right, they're so distinct in how they look and in their aesthetics, and to balance that is honestly a really challenging thing, I would think.
Yeah.
And I think so far the show has knocked it out of the park for me.
Right, and I think at least we've obviously only seen 2 episodes, right? But I think that it's interesting. This is the piece of live action that we have, the first time that we've seen something that's not from the Jon Favreau, Dave Filoni camp, right? So it's brand new, and I think it's refreshing. We're fans of Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni. You good?
Sorry.
Okay. We're fans of Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni, but it's really nice to get someone new, and it's so great that Deborah came over from
to get a woman.
To get a woman.
Oh,
it's amazing.
It's
so
amazing.
Good. Yeah, it's so great. She did an amazing job, and I feel like the tone is really seamless. It is just really refreshing, and I think it'll be really nice to have one director do the entire thing, because I think as Star Wars fans, we're really familiar with this concept of every episode being different, and not just the live action, but also in the animation.
With TV.
With TV, yeah. I think that, especially with the Clone Wars, I mean, if you watch that show when it was airing, we're jumping around all the time. Droid Arc one time, then, which is great. We love Sunny Day in the Borg.
We love a droid moment.
But then we're jumping to this really evocative Mortis arc. It's just a lot, right? We're changing all the time.
Yeah.
So I think that by having a singular vision, I think that that's just a benefit. It's a plus. It's really nice to have this. And I can't believe we're going to be halfway through the show
next
on
week.
Wednesday. It's not okay.
One thing I'm really sad about next week is that it will not be a 7 o'clock, a 9 o'clock, or a midnight showing. It'll be 3 a.m.
Disney Plus do that all the time. Yeah, well, if you live
really
on the East Coast or in the UK or anything, or Europe, it's just late,
It's a bummer. It's a bummer.
It's fine. Whatever.
Yeah.
Okay, we need to talk about Reva. We need to talk about the Inquisitors, and we need to talk about that whole thing.
Yeah.
Okay, so we started off obviously talking about how we think Reva is the person in the beginning, one of the younglings. And Caitlin, what do you think is Reva's motivating factor? What do you think that we're going to find out about her? I think she had a really interesting line, I think, in the first episode. I can't remember if it's which Inquisitor it is. It's the Grand or Fifth Brother who asks her what.
I think it was Fifth Brother.
I think ask her what do you think you're going to get from this?
Yeah, from
why are you
capturing
choosing?
Kenobi.
And she says, what I'm owed. Really good line. It's really evocative, and what does that even mean? It really brings back, okay, so what's her past, and why does she have such a vendetta for getting and bringing Vader Kenobi? I think that we can all understand that if your boss is Vader and you bring in Kenobi, then that's just a plus one. You're getting promoted, right? But
sister.
I think that's just purely bureaucratic. But what else is underneath there? What's the emotional pull? And I think that by starting in the Jedi Temple, what is going on there? So Caitlin, what do you think?
Well, I think there are a couple things with Reva that'll be interesting to watch. Her motivation, of course, being the main one, I think. But yeah, that line of what I'm owed is so fascinating. And we've talked about Reva, of course, being one of the younglings at the beginning. And a lot of people online, and we were talking about this last night too, of Reva, if she had heard the Obi-Wan at the Jedi Council saying, no one come back to the Jedi Temple at the end. And then she and her friends are effectively abandoned there. And there's that kind of betrayal level there that I think could be brought in, because Obi-Wan makes the note to say to Leia that the Inquisitors were Jedi. A lot of them were Jedi who turned to the dark side, and I think that's a very specific line. Feels like it's going to come back around. You know what I mean? And so I think if Reva feels this sense of betrayal from Obi-Wan, from the Jedi in general.
Like
I think
specifically.
Specifically him. I think that could be really interesting in her motivations. But then also, we also learned that Reva discovered this connection between Vader and Obi-Wan through the archives. So there's also an interesting thread there about,
and Leia too, about
what she does know, how she knows it,
and how Leia would be good bait. Like, why would Leia
be the bait?
Yeah,
and you said this too earlier about
refresh my memory, it's been a long 2 days.
About whether or not Vader knows what Reva knows.
Yeah, so I think that first off, shocking that Reva knows that Vader is Anakin Skywalker. I think that's, to me, I'm like,
okay,
I think it was shocking, number one, to see Hayden Christensen at the end in the tank, right? But I think that which is like, oh my gosh.
You can't even address it.
Yeah,
really.
I But I think that who else knows that Vader is Anakin Skywalker? I mean, Ahsoka didn't. So.
And Obi-Wan didn't.
Obi-Wan didn't even know Anakin was alive. That moment. Perfect.
Yeah.
I mean, Ewan McGregor is just such a good actor. I think the acting in this show is also just really, really good. It's super high caliber, and you can just really tell that it is just excellent. And that scene specifically, Ewan did an amazing job where you could see everything written on his face, and that was really great and super devastating. Sobbing. Yeah, and I think that it's just, okay, so then if we think about what's the future for Reva, what's the future for, she's the third sister, sister. The fact that, I don't know, is that a problem that she knows that Vader is Anakin Skywalker? And then could Vader possibly see it as a weakness? Or, is there separation? Are we going to see that sort of internal turmoil between in Vader? I think that last week, or oh my gosh, Monday, we got to talk to Hayden Christensen very briefly. It was... Thanks, guys. It was awesome. But Caitlin, I asked. Blacked out. I asked if he views Anakin and Vader differently, and he doesn't. And I think that that's always something that he pulls at in his performance.
Yeah, he talked at the end about him and Deborah really going through the characterization of Anakin and Vader together as one character, and he used the word imprisonment to describe Anakin about Vader. So I think it'll be interesting because we do have this like parallel between Obi-Wan and Ahsoka finding out about who Vader really was. And I think it'll be interesting to kind of fill in these pieces because we talk about this on the show all the time. How do people know what they know? It's been 10 years, and it was a long time for Ahsoka to be... Ahsoka maybe out in the galaxy doing stuff. Like, she's around, and she doesn't know.
Not just chilling.
Yeah, she didn't find out. Whereas Obi-Wan's been sequestered on Tatooine,
fully removing himself from the Force. I don't think that it wasn't really fully said, unless I missed something, but he didn't cut himself off from the Force in a dramatic way like Luke did. What do you guys think? Did he or no? Yeah, I think that he just wasn't using it, right? It wasn't this, the severing that happened with Luke, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, because I don't think the ground necessarily is going to move when Luke finally uses the Force again.
Yeah. But then again, Luke is a Skywalker, is potentially the chosen one.
Yeah, so I think that, I don't know. There's a lot there, and I hope that they explore it. I really hope that there's some depth that is brought in with Vader and that sort of what happens if it's a secret. I just don't know. I think it is, and I think it's going to be a problem for Reva in the future about what she does actually know. And again, we talked about the archives. Are we going to get to go to the archives? No.
I would be really excited about that. Don't say no.
Well, I don't know.
It could happen, right? I think it could totally happen. But yeah, I do think it's going to be a problem for her because I think it is a secret. The fact that Obi-Wan doesn't know after all this time, I think says a lot, honestly, of just how much of a secret they're keeping it, and Reva choosing to reveal it at that moment. Like, she's going all in, even though all of her superior... Oh, wait, hold on.
What?
When she killed...
Okay, what is up with this?
Who was shocked? I was shocked.
Okay, so, yeah, I'm so shocked. Is he dead? Like, what?
No?
Like, yeah, a minor
just
a flesh wound.
Just a flesh wound.
I think that we just had a show that established the mods as a pretty big thing, so maybe the Grand Inquisitor is a mod, but I don't know. Yeah,
It's just a stomach
exactly.
ache. Just get him some ginger ale, a little Pepto-Bismol.
He'll be fine.
A couple days in the Bacta tank. Yeah. Borrow it, go to Tatooine for the Bacta tank.
Yeah.
Or Boba's Bacta tank. Anyway.
Timeline's confusing.
Yeah. It's all converging into one thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that, I don't think anyone knows. Like, I would be surprised if the other Inquisitors actually knew that Anakin was Vader. I think Reva has made it pretty clear that she goes on her own and that she was the one, she planned this whole kidnapping of Leia secretly without anyone else's approval. So I don't think anyone really knows this connection, because the other Inquisitors even say to her, you know, the senator's daughter, of course I can't remember what they actually said, but like, what were you thinking with the senator's daughter? It wasn't like Lord Vader's daughter. I don't think they know. I think it's just Reva, and I think that all of it is going to come to a head for her.
Yeah. One thing I want to talk about is I thought Kamal's character was really good. I think I just looked up his name. I kind of forgot it. I think it's Haja, right? I thought that was really interesting, because I think something Caitlin and I actually talk about a lot on the show is this concept of the fact that by the sequels, people all think the Jedi are myth. So I think that just the concept of like history erasing itself, or history being erased, and how you think about these people who, I mean, it's been 10 years since Order 66, right? So the Jedi are being hunted, and you have a character who is sort of being this magician-y kind of character, using the Jedi tricks for his own game. Yeah, his own game. So I think that he was really funny and super delightful, and I think that he did a great job in his scenes. And I don't know, I just really liked the character and I wanted to mention that. I don't know if anyone else agrees, but yeah, I think he did a great job. Yeah.
I totally believed that it was a Jedi initially.
Yeah, so did I.
I bought the kid's lie. I bought his scam.
Yeah.
And it took me a second too later on in the episode when it was clear that the kid and Haja were working together. I didn't really pick up on that initially.
Yeah.
He was
too
like,
overwhelmed.
Yeah, he was like, I know a Jedi. I was like, great, cool. Let's find out who it is. Yeah. Show me who this Jedi is. Yeah. But he knew, right? He knew who Obi-Wan was, right? Did he say his name at the end?
Yeah, but was it because of again, we've only watched it once. Was it because of the fact that Reva put out the poster literally everywhere?
Yeah. Okay, yeah. No, answered my own question.
Well, I think, okay, just to jump back to Reva, I'm sorry, I feel like this is a little bit less organized than we usually do, but we're trying with the trusted Google Doc. I think that it's really interesting that there's a conflict within the Inquisitors also, and that it was immediately established that Reva's impulsive and will stop at nothing. Even her own superiors, I guess you could call them superiors, and like coworkers, I guess, putting her down, not really supporting her. So I think that there's also potentially a chance of her like breaking off, or
I think she already did.
Yeah.
I think it now has become completely a personal vendetta. I can't imagine that it will be well received.
The only thing I will say is that, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say that we haven't seen the scene that is in the, what's the
trailer?
name? The trailer of where yes, what's it called? Say it again. Yes, thank you. Fortress Inquisitorius. Yeah, I know, and I feel so bad that we always apologize for not playing the games. We just don't have the consoles, so we can't. I know, we need to watch the cutscenes.
Shannon.
I know,
Shannon,
yeah. We will. Caitlin actually just recently played Vader Immortal. We used to talk about Vader Immortal a lot on the show. It's so good if you've ever watched the cutscenes.
So fun.
And her family brought it down for her to play, and
my family
in front of like 20 people.
This is like a little bit too much TMI about my life, but my family, we had a wedding a couple weeks ago, and my family brought it down, and we're at the rehearsal dinner, which is just like a family get together. And anyway, they're like, Caitlin, I brought this for you to play because you like Star Wars, right? And I was like, yeah, a little bit. And so they like put it on, but we're playing it outside on a patio because that's where the party was, like a cookout situation, right?
Everyone's watching her.
Entire extended family
with
is
the
watching me,
Oculus,
trying to
lightsaber dojo,
learn how to do it. And not only that, I'm so sorry, this is such as we've lost the plot here. But not only that is, right, I'm from Georgia. Country music is a thing. My cousin is blasting country music at this cookout, and we're right by the speaker.
So the vibe is
I'm
just
like,
really weird.
The vibe is Vader Immortal with Jason Aldean.
It's like Vader's.
It's like how George Lucas intended it. It was just anyway, I played it. It was great. So now I can check that game off my list.
Yeah.
But
So eventually I saw that there's going to be another Jedi Fallen
Yes.
Order. So that's really cool. I'm really happy for you guys who love that story, and we will love the story. Yeah. I promise someday.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that place is super cool. So we haven't seen that in the trailer, and
I kind of thought we would go at the end of
me
the
too.
episode.
Me too. My guess is we'll probably open there next episode,
I think
because
so.
we ended with Vader. So I think that that's the next logical step, especially if we think about this as a 6-episode movie. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So.
Yeah, that ending though, the Anakin and I don't think I was expecting it at that point in the episode to actually.
I wasn't
see
expecting
him.
to see Vader or Hayden Christensen or anything at all in these 2
Yeah,
episodes.
yeah.
I just feel like I put that out of my mind. I thought that it wasn't going to come until like maybe in a flashback, but never. I don't think we were going to get any sort of Vader, and we did, which is cool.
Okay, so next episode, do you think the first time we see Vader, whether it's the next episode or in the future, do you think we'll see him unmasked first or masked first? Like fully a scene with him, you know what I mean? Masked.
So okay, I just don't.
I can't decide.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that they are being super cagey about who's doing the voice of Vader, and I don't really know why. And I can't put my finger on it beyond they just didn't get James Earl Jones to do it, and that's probably like answer number 1. But I'm sort of like, okay, so how much are we getting maskless Vader with mask? Does Obi-Wan further damage Vader to the point where he has to wear the mask all the time? Like, I don't.
These are all really excellent questions.
I just don't know. I mean, I think that there's the rematch of the century, right? That Kathy Kennedy talks about. I always think that's
it's like a wrestling match. That's what I always think about.
Me too.
Like round 1, ding, ding, ding.
Yeah.
Round 1 was Mustafar?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The
Round
battle
1
of
was
the
Mustafar.
heroes.
It's intense. It's intense. Yeah, I think right now I'm thinking unmasked. Mm-hmm. But I'm not committed to it though. Anyone
you just committed.
No, anyone could change my mind here.
Yeah, I think so too.
I think also it's just number 1. I think that this press tour with Hayden has been so great, and
So good.
he's just been it's been such a treat to watch him be like with Star Wars fans again, because I think in 2019 it was like this great comeback to like see him again. Like, remember, this is 2019, right? I'm thinking of the right year.
I think it was.
Was that his first return? When was his first return to Celebration?
17.
2017. That's when you met him.
Yeah.
But like that feels like such a moment, right, for Hayden. But then this feels like the next kind of.
Well, it's very
step.
clear that he gets it so much.
Yeah.
I mean, we just haven't really heard him talk about Star Wars in a really long time. I think that we've been inundated. It's been a long 2 days. With like Hayden content and him talking about like so many interviews and everything. It's easy to sort of forget when we're in this moment right now that we just haven't seen him talk about Star Wars in a long time.
And in depth like this too.
Super in depth. He's very open to talking about anything.
Yeah.
So it's great. It's very thankful.
And at this moment too, where it's, and like he talked about like seeing Anakin and Vader as one character, not as 2 separate characters. I think to really get more of that discussion from him, because he really was just Vader for like a brief period of Revenge of the Sith, like when we're looking at the total time of who he was playing. So to see it more as this kind of blended character or like time period where we're still maybe seeing some Anakin.
Well, we're always going to eventually get the Anakin Skywalker redemption. So
yeah, exactly.
How can we further inform that? How all these different Star Wars stories that are inserted into different pieces of the timeline add to that finale, that final piece of Anakin's story, and like how can we look upon that with new eyes, right? So I look forward to that.
Yeah.
Even though I don't want it to be over. I want to live in this for a long time.
It's still kind of, I know we already said this, but the fact that it's going to be halfway over
it's
next
sad.
week, it's a bummer.
Yeah, it's
a little bit of
But
a
at the
bummer.
same time, when we were watching it last night, I mean, who else was like, I'll just watch all of it. Let's go. Let's keep it going. Play the next one. You know.
That would have been so fun, just like a whole marathon of the entire Kenobi series in one sitting.
Yeah, that would be insane.
It would have been really fun. But I lost my train of thought. There was something else I was going to say about timelines, and now I can't remember what it was.
I'm sorry.
I know.
Can't help you.
Yeah, it's not coming back to me at all.
Okay, it's fine. We'll move on.
Yeah, it'll come in a minute, but not right now.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think that we could probably sort of wrap up and then have like a little bit of a meetup or a question.
Any
and
questions?
Yeah, questions.
Too. We could do that too.
Yeah. Does anyone have any questions or anything
about Kenobi or speculation?
Yeah. Sure. Yeah.
Yes. Sarah.
Yes.
Sarah.
Hey.
Yeah, so one thing that I was thinking about is in A New Hope. Leia's like, you served my father, and then she's like, help me, Obi-Wan. And then in the show, when she's a little girl and she had him up, she's like, help me. And I was just like, when she's putting on like a facade in A New Hope, and being like, yeah, you, Obi-Wan, come help me, but then she's like, remember me.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I think that's. Yeah. I think that's such a good thought, too, because A New Hope, it really is about Luke being sad about Obi-Wan. I mean, come on. It's like Leia gives him the blanket, is like, woe is me. Like, it's okay.
Meanwhile, they have like a history.
Yeah, meanwhile, like, Leia was casually kidnapped, and Ben rescued her as, like, a small child.
Oh, also, one thing, because you just said the name Ben, I think that this really adds to the fact that Leia named her son Ben. And it was on the tip of my tongue this entire time. I can't believe I didn't lead with that.
We love a Ben Solo connection.
Yeah, exactly. So, but I do think that's really interesting about
really
the help me Obi-Wan Kenobi, you're my only hope. It's like, well, really in the past, perhaps, I mean, hopefully this all goes, I think it does, that Obi-Wan helped her before in a big way. And she probably remembers that. It's probably a very traumatic occurrence. I also think that when she's dangling on the like clothesline or something, when she jumps from the building, it really reminded me of when Obi-Wan was in Anakin's dream talking to Padme when Padme's giving birth, when Obi-Wan says like, don't give up, Padme, hold on. And there was the same sort of moment with like, hold on, Leia, don't give up. Yeah.
Oh, you made everyone sad.
I'm sorry. I was like, there's so much about it. Yeah. I mean, it was in the dream, but still, we remember it collectively.
Okay, but did anyone else think, because I kind of thought when Leia was, parkour Leia jumping across all of the buildings, that at the last one, she would almost like call on the Force and do like a little Force
I was
jump.
ready for that.
So I am a little surprised that didn't happen. I think this show could be a good opportunity to bring some more of that into Leia's story.
Just even like mentioning when Owen was like, you care if he's showing, which I think was an interesting like verbiage, I guess, of saying that. And I guess, will we see that? Will we see Luke have any sort of Force sensitivity that is shown early, or that something that Owen talks about to Obi-Wan? Or do we just see that also with Leia, and then what happens there? I don't know. It's interesting.
Well, I think it's a good conversation about Obi-Wan and his view on attachment, honestly, because he did ultimately love Anakin, and look where it got him. So how is he keeping his emotions in check about really Luke, but also Leia? I think as we move through the series, is he trying to only care about if Luke is showing like the Force capabilities, or does he actually love him and care for him like he would a nephew in a lot of ways?
I think we, the audience, think that it's the latter, right? Like that he cares. We want that, right?
Yeah.
I think
or if he thinks that Luke is the chosen one, it's like that's
means
what's
to an
important.
end.
Yeah, it means to an end, which I don't think it'd be quite that cynical, but I mean, I think perhaps Obi-Wan wants it, cynical. Like is trying to. But
yeah, because Luke's eventually the one that's like, I don't want to kill Vader, even though Obi-Wan later is like, you should kill Vader. You have to kill him. It's the only way, and it has to be you. I mean, and Luke's like, I'm not going to do it, and that's the amazing. That's why Return of the Jedi is amazing, right? Like the redemption of it all.
Yeah.
I think that, I don't know. There's a lot there. Any more questions?
So while I was watching, I was really struck by Leia's insight, as you mentioned earlier, into her emotional state. I actually thought that could be a way that she was showing the Force.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I thought the same thing.
That's a really good thought.
I think it might be canon that she used the Force, and like that's why she was a really good senator. Am I wrong about that? Maybe it's legend. I don't remember. But it sounds really familiar to me in like a canon sense. But I thought the same thing, and I really liked that she sort of used that ability to clap back at the cousin, right? Like that was great. So, yeah.
I think we've all been talking about Uncle Owen's, burn of the century with Obi-Wan.
The burn of the century.
The burn of the century. But now I think we have to give it to Leia.
Yeah, so true, so true. I'm sure the Star Wars marketing was like, just wait,
Just wait until you meet her.
Yeah.
Another question from anyone?
I just want to say Lola.
Oh my gosh, yeah. So cute. Yes.
But there's an interesting moment where I think they're hanging out at that gathering, and she just says thank you to the droid. Mm-hmm. It was really great, and the cousin's like, why are you thanking the droid?
Yes.
Whatever. I swear in The Rise of Skywalker, doesn't she say something to Rey like?
Yes. Oh my gosh, that is such a good connection. Yes, absolutely. I think that this entire show like really checked a lot of boxes, and that includes like any sort of conversations about like droids' rights and things like this. One of my favorite things about Solo, and like I love that evolution in the Star Wars stories. So of course Leia, I mean, we know this, it doesn't need to be said, right? Like Leia cares about droids and thinks about them as friends and family and things like that. So I think that was such a good, I loved that. I love Lola. Yeah.
I would like to add that.
Yeah.
In the E.K. Johnson Padme book, Padme thanks for droids.
Yes, that's so true.
The beginning of the last one is like, she thanks R2, and she's like,
Yes.
and like, I always have to be polite. And so that's what my thought was like, is that intentional for that reason or because of her later?
Yeah, I think it's both.
Yeah.
I think it's both.
Yeah.
And it's really great. Love it. I also have always loved how, like, the droids, like, specifically R2 and 3PO, I think there's a lot to be said there. But I loved that, like, I think it's fully canon now. I don't know if it's been like this for a while, but, like, R2 was Padme's droid that went with Anakin. And C-3PO was built by Anakin and then went to Padme. So then there's, like, this cross. And then now it's Leia, it's all Leia's. It's just so good. And I liked that there's this sort of carry on, this connection to droids constantly within the Skywalker family. Yeah, sure. Yeah.
I had a question about the scene where Owen and Reva are fighting each other.
Mm-hmm.
Owen basically said the Jedi are evil or Skywalker, something along those lines. Do you think that was his true feelings, or was he trying to put off Reva? And if they were his true feelings, how would that be?
Oh, that's a good
I think
question.
true feelings. Because after that scene, when he's telling Reva, the Jedi are vermin, I kill Jedi that come on my land. So I forget what he actually said, but something along those lines. And after Reva leaves and Obi-Wan comes back and says, thank you, Owen. And Owen says, I didn't do it for you. I almost thought he was going to say something along the lines of, I meant what I said, like, don't come near us because I will kill you. I kind of thought.
That's really dark.
I mean, it's kind of a dark show. I think he means it, though. I think he means that because I think he has seen the. If we think about Owen in Attack of the Clones and like everything that he's seen with Anakin and now with Obi-Wan and now with Luke and then everything that's gone on with the galaxy as a whole, I just think it makes sense for him to not trust the Jedi and to think they're a danger. No matter whether he thinks they were good at one point in the past or are no longer good or just are useless or, but I do think I think he was talking to Obi-Wan in that moment of, I will kill you. Yeah.
Right behind the last, yeah.
Okay, so who do you think that clone is?
Okay, my brain was doing flips when I watched this. I was like, who am I looking? What's happening? I think number one, it's really sad. Like it's a sad situation that we're 10 years. Oh, do you have more to say? Yeah.
So the clone is panhandling, and that's the first charitable act we see out of Obi-Wan.
Yes.
Like change.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, that's a really good point.
Yeah, I think that it was just really I don't know, it really worked for me and as something tugging on my heartstrings of seeing a clone who's still in this armor 10 years after. It is. I don't know who that
hurts.
clone was though. Is that been identified or is it just a clone?
It's telling his colors are specifically the blue color.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
So it
interesting.
potentially could have been someone
Yeah,
Obi-Wan knew.
right.
Part of the group that went with
Anakin.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
From Clone Wars, all the other ones are.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just overall like really sad. And again, brain was doing flips. I was like, what am I doing? What am I looking at?
It was like a total
Beard?
mind melt. I
Yeah.
was like, wait.
Yeah.
So I was just a little bit confused when Revo was sort of announcing about Anakin being alive and stuff. Was the connection that Obi-Wan didn't know that Vader was alive, but he knew that Anakin was Vader, or he didn't know that Vader was alive, but he didn't know that Anakin was Vader?
Both. I think it's both. I think he didn't know Anakin and was alive, or
That Anakin was Vader.
yeah. Even though,
No, but he didn't know that Vader was alive.
well, he didn't.
That's what I'm saying. I thought everyone knew.
That's interesting because you're right. Because he does know because he saw the security hologram of Palpatine saying like, "Go, Lord
go
Vader."
forth,
Yeah,
Darth Vader.
Yeah. And we've talked about that before. I just like completely forgot about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting. I wonder if that's a retcon.
Lord Vader.
Yeah, it's probably not. Yeah,
I don't know. Sometimes I don't think it's entirely clear because I think sometimes Palpatine kind of uses Vader secretly, but I mean, maybe that'll come to light.
I do
Maybe
think we're
he
gonna
makes
find
his
out.
debut.
Like, I think
in
it'll
this,
be clearer.
Series.
It seems
like
like
to the galaxy.
There was a lot of lines written about that. Like that seems so exact that Reva would say that it feels like it has to do something, right? Like it has to serve a function. We'll see how, right?
Yeah.
We have like time for one more question. So I think just you back there, yeah.
Okay, so could we add on to the episode significance? There's also the fact that, remember in episode 4 when Luke first meets Leia, he says, I got thank you for everything, but then Leia responded excitedly. Thanks to the show, because that moment has now been decontextualized in a very interesting way. But
Yeah.
in terms of my actual question, seeing how you all mentioned the early screening last night, but how did the audience react to basically every moment?
Really, really well.
It was good.
Wait.
Every moment the show basically saying to stab us in the stomach and then twist them.
People were really confused. I mean, I don't know. Other people who were in the screening, back me up here, right? When that happened.
No, I meant.
Oh.
I meant not that one. I talked about generally when the emotional moments happen.
Yeah.
Basically, any emotional moment where the show like metaphorically stabbed us and then twisted us.
Yes.
Metaphorically stabbed us.
There was a lot of clapping, a lot of ooh. A lot of wow.
Yeah, especially with the dream that Obi-Wan had. That was a big one. I also think Leia's reveal, kind of anytime she came on screen, I feel like there were a ton of murmurs of the people around us, like, oh my God, she's so perfect. Like, actually,
everyone was.
Specifically, the people behind us were like, she is amazing.
She's it.
Yeah, but I feel like you could hear like the whispers through the crowd of like,
Yeah.
yeah, oh yeah, and Bale too.
Everyone was erupted. You go ahead.
Yeah.
But from some fans' reactions to Luke in Last Jedi, the criticism of that, it was a little bit 2.0.
Yes.
That was interesting. And there were some people afterwards that seemed a little shell-shocked by what they watched.
Oh, really?
Upset.
Oh.
That will be interesting to see.
Wow. I didn't get that
was
vibe.
not our
So
area at all,
I appreciate that insight.
Yeah, that's interesting.
I hope that personally oh, yikes.
No.
Oh, we don't want that. I think
we're just going to put that in a box
my
and
hope.
blow right past it.
Yeah.
We're blowing past
We're
it.
burying it, you mean?
No, we're not. No, we're blowing past it.
I mean, my hope is that with all these Luke parallels in The Last Jedi with this show, that there's a sort of clearer understanding, I guess, of that. I mean, I don't know. In The Last Jedi, but not that I think it really needs it, but, you know.
Yeah. I do think we have time for one more question. Let's go. The Ahsoka shirt?
Yeah.
So someone else has a lot of time with it is Aunt Beru.
Yes.
And do you guys think that maybe she'll have a softer heart towards Obi-Wan? Like maybe like she like sneaks him in and like give Luke the toy or something like that? Right?
Oh my God.
Wait, that's cute.
I love that. Yes.
Yeah, cheers for that.
That is a great theory. I think that she'll have a bigger role, actually. I think Bonnie's really great and super cool.
She was there, right?
Yeah, she was there last night. When they all came on the stage afterwards, for people who were there. Also, Vivian, the girl, the little Leia, came on stage last night. It was adorable.
She came on stage, and I was like, it is past her bedtime, but I'm so excited to see her.
She was so happy, and she gave everyone a hug. I wanted her to give Hayden Christensen a hug, by the way, but she didn't. So
That's Vader. That's Vader.
Yeah. Anyway, I think that's a really good insight and thought, and I bet that will happen. I bet she will be softer.
Well, especially because that's how we kind of see their dynamic in A New Hope. So it kind of makes sense that perhaps that's how she's been all along. But then who knows, like, what is going to happen on Tatooine throughout the rest of this series, where maybe she kind of sees that, okay, maybe we do need to take a harder line with Obi-Wan, considering the Inquisitor is at our door. Like, it is actually a little bit more serious than maybe she thought initially. Maybe, I don't know, maybe she thought she could let her guard down a little bit after 10 years, and maybe now is the time that we can actually introduce Obi-Wan, Ben to Luke, and then maybe after the events of this series, it's like, no. Yeah. But then maybe the toy is like kind of that final, I don't know, like peace offering in a way.
I do think the toy will come back because stuff that happens in the first episode, I think that will get resolved later on, you know?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I think that's it. Thank you all so
much.
You guys.
Can I,
we love you. Can we take a selfie?
Yeah, can we take a selfie?
We didn't do this in 2019, and I regret it like every day.
Yeah.
All right, everyone.
Here, wait, I'm going to go down. Okay.
All right, 1, 2, 3.
Yay!
Thank you all so much. Again. Oh my gosh. Okay, so we have these awesome posters from Bloodline. That amazing Claudia Gray book. Who here has read it? They're so good. Great. All right. Perfect.
Yay!
All right. And then we also have so. Oh my gosh. I'm sorry. We also have so many giveaways. So we have the prints that are made by the incredible Kara DJ. If you are not, she's so amazing. Kara. Yeah, Kara, if you are not subscribed to her amazing fanzines, we need to keep fanzines alive. They're the coolest thing ever, and her fanzine is incredible. We talk about it all the time on the show, so it's not unfamiliar. And her artwork is like a representation of the Star Wars dinner in a big way, you know, and it is so great. We're so happy to have that. So enjoy those. And we have a bunch of holo stickers, and we have the pins, the Star Wars dinner pins in the back.
We have the lanyards and bookmarks. So everyone should be able to get one of each, whatever you want. If you don't have them, I think there's some floating around or up here. And I also think we should just like badge check everyone.
Yeah, badge check.
Everyone badge checked.
Lobster claw on the.
We got the double lobster claw. It's a good look.
I have the triple claw. It's so aggressive. Like, this is insane.
Yeah. But I think that's our show.
Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you so much.
Enjoy the rest of Star Wars Celebration. We'll be outside too, so we can chat outside.
We'll be at Disney tonight too
if you see us.
Yeah. Thank you all so much for coming.